This episode of the Lawyers Hip Hop Happy Hour is sponsored by the law offices of Alfred Guillaume III, a boutique criminal defense firm located in Washington, D.C. The firm specializes in defending federal criminal cases. You can learn more about the firm by visiting our website at guillaumelaw.com. That's GUILLAUME law.com. Welcome to the Lawyers Hip Hop Happy Hour. This month, I had the pleasure to sit down with my good friend Marguerite Lanaux, the District Public Defender for the City of Baltimore. Marguerite is in charge of supervising the many attorneys that handle the thousands of criminal cases that come through the Baltimore court system each year. Like many guests on this podcast, hip-hop has played a major part in her life. A native of Long Island, New York, Marguerite and I discussed some of her favorite hip-hop albums, as well as her love of Method Man and Mary J. Blige, and even some down south classics that might surprise you. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. This is an interview you do not want to miss. Welcome to another episode of the Lawyers Hip Hop Happy Hour. We are here with attorney Marguerite Lanaux to discuss my favorite subject, music. Welcome back. You haven't gone far.
I haven't.
I'm glad you're still here. Put it like that.
Me too.
And, you know, I'm so glad you're here for many reasons. But the number one reason is that many times I love all of my guests on the Lawyers Hip Hop Happy Hour.
But you love me the most.
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
But some guests tend to be drawn to the same albums when they dig through the crates. We have so many. We have hundreds of albums. But inevitably, a lot of folks pick the same albums. You, on the other hand, in true New York fashion, okay, represent to my New York brothers and sisters. Shout out to my main man, D. Clooney, Howard 05 alum.
Oh, David.
Who was also very different. You chose a very unique selection of albums, and I actually surprised me on a couple of them.
Did I?
You did. You did.
What surprised you the
most?
most?
We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it.
Right,
you know,
run the show.
Look, you went down south. You went to the West Coast. You went to the East Coast, where I know you were going to be, and you went to the Midwest. And I'm really excited to talk about these records because I know them all very well, and I have not had the opportunity, I think, prior to this interview, to talk about at least probably 90% of the records that are on the table.
Oh, okay. Well, you know I'm well-traveled, so I like to take you all
well-traveled.
over.
But we're going to start off in your hometown, Brooklyn, NYC.
Brooklyn,
NYC. And the album that you chose.
Oh, I won't throw up the diamond because I did that once, and the Deltas got very upset.
I can imagine.
Yeah, I don't
You chose Jay-Z's. This is a college album for me. Probably It's a college album for you?
Yep, college album.
It's my last year of college.
Let me tell you that this album,
Jay-Z's Volume 2, Hard Knock Life.
First trip to Miami.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So this came out, I want to say in 99 or 98. I think it's 99.
Mm-hmm.
I was in my last year of college, definitely bumping this album. And you were probably just starting out in school.
No. I'm not. You always
Marguerite,
think
you're not the same age as me.
I am not. I am much
younger.
Much younger.
However,
this album was when I transferred to Howard, and so think about 99 Memorial Day, Miami.
Okay, tell me about it.
I remember I wasn't able to rent the car because I wasn't 25 yet. My older sister, Monique.
Shout out to my Leo sister.
Yep.
Shout out to my other sister too, Michelle.
Yep. Shout out to all my sisters, Lanaux girls in the house.
Lanaux.
So my sister Monique, we went down with my college roommate at the time and one of her college roommates. She had graduated college. We're in Miami. We're in like the 1999 for the weekend rental car. Like,
wow,
the
you was
worst.
balling.
Right. I promise you. I think we had like $500 between all of us, and we were like, we're in it. We were in a hotel room, slept in a car one night. It was a mess, but it was so much fun.
This album brings back
memories because
which song?
It was the Coming of Age with Memphis Bleak that just
Memphis Bleak. I don't think we've ever mentioned Memphis Bleak on this show before.
I done came up, put my life on the line.
Woo!
Yes.
Let's go.
Yes. Now it's your time to shine, trying to change up.
Let's go.
No one second in line. 918 streets of mine. Yes.
That's how we do it on the Lawyers Hip Hop Happy Hour.
Yeah. And I remember Hard Knock Life. one of my ex-boyfriends, whose name we shall not speak of, was so enamored with Jay-Z's ability to take the Annie song and make it the Annie beat and make it into something.
Right. That's amazing. When you think about that, actually, it's even today in 2025, it's so impressive that he was able to do that, and it wasn't like a derivative of the beat. It was the beat.
It was the beat, like the from whole Annie. Beat. And then the thing you will never hear me not say about Jay-Z is that if you've ever been to a Jay-Z concert, you will see any type of person in that stage rocking. I mean, he's
a Sagittarius as well, just like us.
He is such my friend in my head. Jay-Z, if you're listening, please, you, me, B. Let's all get together.
Let's do it, man.
But
can I come?
Probably. Yeah. You can come. If I get 4.
All right.
4.5.
I can roll solo. I don't have to bring my wife. I'll roll solo.
Yeah, because then I would need 6. But do you remember Kia? Do you remember my friend Kia?
From New Orleans. Shout out from NOLA.
Who met Jay-Z. And
she met him.
She's like, I will never forgive my husband for the day I met Jay-Z when he tapped me on the shoulder and I turned around with a chicken wing in my mouth. And she's like, Kia, meet Jay-Z.
Shout out to Kia. Kia's rolling in big circles.
Yes, she is. Anyway, but this album is just a testament to Jay-Z, to just all things that are Jay. And that when you go to his concerts, it's just a vibe. And I know the young kids say vibe, but you will see 6'2", 300-pound men jamming at these shows.
Just like little schoolgirls.
It just takes over you. And this album is the one I play this all the time.
So this is your favorite Jay-Z album, you think?
I don't have a favorite. I love them all.
Okay. Now, when we were in law school, right? Yeah, exactly. That's a good way to put it. All your children are created equally.
They are.
You love them all the same.
Yeah, but now, you got that one.
You got that one, and I got that 1 plus 2. I'm not picking
I'm not telling you who it is, but I got that one that I'm like, you the one.
Yeah, you the one
I'm gonna get called about.
Put it like this: I'm the one in my family. Okay, I already know.
Oh God. Womp, womp.
No, in all seriousness, this is a great album. Mm-hmm. It was a transition in my life too. I was leaving college, going to do other things. At the time, I didn't know what I was going to do. But I remember actually coming back to school still. I was that guy. I was on campus and I had already graduated. I came back to school. I bought this car. My co-creator knows whose car I bought. Bumping this album on the sound that he put in there.
That sound probably bad.
That sound was so good.
Was that the Accord?
It was the Accord. Yeah, you know the Accord. That's right. Because I came to law school with the Accord.
Blue Accord with all the speakers in the back. That car was so damn small.
Shout out to the 90 Accord.
Hey, you had a lot of nerve getting in that car.
I did.
And you would get in and out of it with all the
yes, I was proud.
Bravada in the world.
A 6'5" getting out of a 2-door Honda coupe. Best car I ever had. I love it.
Oh.
This is a great album.
I did love that car.
And if I'm going Jay-Z albums, this is up there.
Yeah.
I've talked before about 444 being like, currently as a 40-something-year-old guy, being my best Jay-Z album. But, it's really between the Blueprint and the Black Album for me.
Yeah, Black Album is...
That's a law school album for us.
I hit that Black Album, then I backed album. That's the best rapper alive. Ask about me.
Right.
Yeah, but that's why I said you can't pick, because you just named 444. You named the Black Album. You named this one.
Blueprint.
They all have different spaces.
And then there's Reasonable Doubt. How you gonna forget Reasonable Doubt?
But that's the thing about Jay-Z is that he just moves with you, and like he's old. And
we
old.
He just turned 55 not too long ago.
But you just still you're just so cool.
He's managed to stay relevant.
And this album,
dude has skills.
Even when you look at the cover of this album, it was when he was like, I'm gonna be a grown up.
Right. And he was a grown up before being a grown up.
He was, but then he decided, I don't want to be a grown up anymore, and then he started wearing jerseys again.
Right. He's got on an all black. He's got a sports coat, button up polo, standing next to probably a Bentley. I'm imagining.
Just love him. I just love him.
New York's finest. Shout out to main man Jigga.
But you know who else is New York's finest?
New York's finest. Shout out to you. Made the perfect transition.
Shaolin
Island's finest. Staten Island royalty.
Wu-Tang.
The second album you chose, Wu-Tang Forever. I have told this story a million times. I'm going to tell it again. I walked to buy this. It was a double CD at the time. I did not have a car. I was in college. I walked to buy it the day it came out, over 2 miles, And I stood in line and I got this album, and it was a wonderful decision.
Wonderful decision.
Wonderful.
Now I'm going to tell you, this is a double CD, and that was, remember at the time that was a big thing?
That was a big deal. That wasn't common.
Yeah, it wasn't common at the time. This album was my freshman year of college. I had this picture that I was insistent upon getting this poster to put up in my dorm room. I had it hanging over my bed.
Wu-Tang forever.
Wu-Tang forever.
Wu-Tang is for the children. I just bought a Wu-Tang varsity jacket. So shout out to, I think they got a website. I would love to say what it is. I'll check out the behind the scenes. I'll tell you what it is. I'm going to be rocking that for Mardi Gras 2025. Just so y'all know, when you see me in the street, it's me with my Wu-Tang varsity jacket on.
I used to live in a suite in my first year of college. So it was 3 rooms in the suite, 6 girls. I made everybody in the suite learn dog shit.
Wow. There it is.
Yep. Sure did. I love this. And I remember when I got to law school, I was still bumping this.
I bump it now.
Yeah.
Like, I go back and forth between my 2 favorite songs on this album. I'm going to give them to you. And one is a kind of maybe a surprise. Bells of War is one of my favorite songs. I mean, that's a very, you can lose it in with all the other good songs, but dun, 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 and then Raekwon comes on. I think Raekwon has the first verse, man, and Ray is he just sets the tone. And of course, Victory is like,
yes,
that's like. Shout out to Inspector Deck's verse on Victory. That's like one of the all-time greatest verses.
God, Ghostface,
Killer, Method Man, Raekwon the Chef, ODB, the Jizza, the RZA.
Can I tell you a story about Wu-Tang?
Tell me.
So when my older sister Michelle was in college, she was flying home from Hampton University, and she gets on the plane, and at the time...
It's a beautiful name, by the way.
Yes, it is a beautiful name. At the time, she had... a fade, cut all her hair off and dyed it blonde. This is in like 1993, so she stands out.
The
right?
Lanaux girls can cut hair and grow hair faster than, like, they're like weeds. It's faster than anybody that I've ever seen. It's seriously, all 3 of them. It's like they cut it and it grows right back. I'm like, what?
It does, but it's slowing up in my old age. Anyway, so she's on the plane and she says, this guy leans over and was like, yo, your hair is dope. Turns out, I think it was
it ODB?
No, it wasn't ODB. It was RZA.
Oh, nice.
I think it was RZA. And so they start talking, and she gives him her number, and this is back before cell phones. So she gives him the house phone number, right?
Oh, no, wait. You gonna tell me that RZA called your house? That's what you gonna tell me?
He called my house.
Whoa.
And my mom was like, you know what time it is? My mom's Jamaican, so he called after 10 o'clock. She's like, you know what time it is? He was like, oh, I'm sorry, my bad. Never call back. I was like,
man.
Mom,
Moms.
it was the Wu-Tang. Like,
yo.
My mom was like, tell him not to call him after 10
Shout out to your mom. Shout out to Jamaica.
Life could have been so different, but for the fact that she was like, not after 10 o'clock. I don't care who you are.
So this was the time this album was released, or before, or?
No, this was way before, because this was in like 92 or 93.
So the first album, in the 36 Chambers.
Yes.
Wow.
So, yes, and this is when people are still flying on planes together and like, no big deal, right?
Oh, man. Yeah. That's a great story.
Was it? I got to ask her which one it was, but I was...
Hey, look, somebody from the Wu-Tang clan.
But Michelle has good stories from college. She met Biggie.
Wow. I mean, my wife has a story about Wu-Tang. She tells me that they performed at her school, and they didn't have enough money to pay him, so they paid him in weed.
But this was
this was the early 90s.
We grew up in the time where like these
she didn't
people
smoke weed,
were still.
They paid her in weed, whoever they is.
I think I'm the only person in America who can truly say I've never smoked weed, but nonetheless, these people were performing at like shows on campus. Like Jay-Z performed at Albany, and I was like, who is this and what is he doing up there? Because this was back when like he was like in a Ferrari, a Jaguar, switching floor lanes, and he just kept doing this with his wrist out. It was bad.
Bad as in good, or bad as in...
bad as in like...
Not good.
No stage presence, just still real young. Yeah. But I mean, we all
evolve. We got to start somewhere.
If anybody had my first trial on tape, it probably was looking real similar.
Right, yeah. I lost my first like 6 trials or something like that.
I won my first trial, but I had to get a tap from my supervisor, who was like, the jury's falling asleep. sleep.
Shout out to you and your trial experience. You know, we're going to keep it in the realm of the Wu-Tang Clan.
Yes, okay.
And, you know, we're going to talk about probably the most famous member of
the
Wu-Tang.
Yeah.
Shout out to my main man, Method Man.
It's the
and
Method
his
Man
first
for
album,
short, Mr. Meth.
Cal.
Moving on
On
your
up.
left.
Man.
Set it off.
I remember this album. I love the lyrics. I didn't meet him. I bought this album when I was in high school. I think my last year of high school. Right?
Did you really?
Yeah.
Whoa.
I was in high. I think it was my last year. It was around 94, 95, and I bought this album. And I didn't even know who Method Man was at the time. I remember there was the video on MTV, Bring the Pain.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I
came to bring the pain, hardcore from the brain.
Yes.
You know, I'm famous for saying the wrong words in songs. I know it's pain, but I still prefer to say brain.
I just looking at this album cover.
Go inside like acid rain.
Yeah, I mean, this dude was different.
Yes.
I mean, I remember buying this album at the time when I bought a whole lot of other albums.
Do you remember how he had everybody wearing Nike gloves?
I remember that was the thing because when I was in college and the guys from New York came down, they had on, it was like the baseball gloves.
Yes.
Right. It was like on the one hand.
Yep.
Yeah, wearing on one hand. I never did that, but they used to do that.
Yep.
And I saw that. I was like, what? What is that?
I remember playing lacrosse in high school, and around the time where like my friends started to get cars, two of my friends who are not black had Method Man banging in the little Rav, what wasn't even RAV4, it was a little like the oh god, with the soft tops, the little Jeeps, the 2-seater Jeeps, the soft top had it, and coming out just like all of us just jamming to Method Man before a game. And like in hindsight,
Meth was getting hyped.
Yes,
like,
in hindsight, I'm like, why were we all singing this?
Right. I mean, he was grimy.
Because the Method Man, what is the method that he's talking about? Right? Like, we shouldn't have been singing that in high school, but I knew every word.
He was the breakout star from the group.
Yes.
But his album was the first in a series of about 4 or 5 albums. I mean, it was him, it was Raekwon, it was Ghost, it was ODB, GZA. All those first albums for solo albums for Wu-Tang were groundbreaking.
Yeah.
Everybody was different.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think Raekwon was probably my favorite album, but I loved them all. And you almost picked up, I think you did pick up ODB, and I might have put it back.
I did, because I think ODB is, you know, may he rest in peace.
Rest in peace, man.
ODB made some bangers that you just be in the club.
I mean, Brooklyn
like,
Zoo. I mean,
yeah, just jamming. Like,
yeah.
You know, look, I'm gonna call him the wrong name, but I can see his name face in my mind, who said I made songs with Mariah, but Mariah made songs with ODB, and that was crazy to think, like,
that he's of all the people you're gonna make songs with
that you making it song, and it worked, and it
worked
made
perfectly.
Sense. Yep, and he was just. Yeah.
That was a great song. And around the same time, right a little bit after Meth's first album, he had the collaboration with Mary J.
Yeah.
So that song, and they had the different versions, right? The All I Need to Get By. I mean, that sample from Marvin Gaye, Tammy Terrell.
Yep.
And then they had the Razor Sharp remix. What?
Yep.
Oh my God.
Yep.
And then remember they were bobbing their heads in the video.
I was gonna say, in the video.
That video.
They're not even doing a lot. They're just sitting.
Right. They literally sitting.
You don't need them to do anything
sitting
else.
on a
You're just
roof.
rocking like all, and you just feel it.
They sit on a rooftop. Meth has a cap way low,
down, and Mary is just Mary.
Shout out to Mary J. Blige, man. I think you chose one of her albums too. I edited that.
I did.
Because we can't talk about every album.
We can't, but Mary is.
Shout out to Mary J. Shout out to the golden era of hip hop where we came up in. It was amazing.
I saw Mary do an interview, and
Mary's like around our age too. Mary's my age. Sorry.
I saw Mary do an interview recently, and with Fat Joe. You know, Fat Joe has a whole show.
I actually follow Fat Joe on Instagram. Shout out to Fat Joe.
And she so eloquently put it that I understood why I love Mary. Mary made it okay to just be like ghetto and just and I say that in the sense of like, the term has been coined or has always been associated with something negative, but she made it okay to like wear the big chains, to wear the
big
extra
earrings.
jewelry,
Right.
to wear the, name branded out top to bottle. And that
That's who
was
she
considered
was.
to be ghetto, but that's who she was. And she stayed so true to it. And she made millions off of it, of staying true to herself. And I just
staying true to yourself.
that
Exactly. That's
so
one of the
much.
things that should not be lost on anybody. That a lot of these artists that are here today, that we've chosen that we're talking about, have stayed true to themselves,
Yep.
and that is the key. And even in our profession,
Yep.
is that you got to stay true to yourself.
Yep.
Shout out to Mary J. and all these great artists in that time. I'm going to take it though to a different place right now. We're going to take it down south, and you chose 2 albums. One shocked me. I'll be honest with
Really?
you. Yeah.
What shocked you?
I'll tell you in a second.
Okay.
The other one
I don't
was
have a
when
lot
we
of
were in law
patience.
school together. So I understand why you may have chosen that one. But the one that shocked me, we'll start with that. It's Outkast Aquemini.
No way. That shocked you?
An amazing album. You know, you probably heard me say it a million times. Outkast are my guys. I'm a big Outkast guy. Outkast, Wu, and Tribe. Those are my top 3 groups.
I know. Okay. I heard you say that, and I said Outkast and Woo Tribe. That's a scar of past relationships. But
Oh, we can talk about that
no,
too.
you can't. I need a therapy and a couch for that.
All right.
You got
But
a couch?
I don't, but I can. We can talk all you want. I probably already know the story.
Probably do.
1998, this album was released.
The best.
Awesome, and you were, you're in New York, you're in DC, and Outkast to me at that time was really Southern, and you chose this album, so you showed me something. I was like, wow, look at you, you know about Outkast, and you picked a great album.
This album rocks.
It
from
does rock.
Start to finish, and one of the songs on this album that I've always, that I still to this day, there's a lot of good songs. I mean, this album is one that you pay start to finish,
right,
hands
I
down.
like West Savannah. I think that's probably my.
One thing about me is I never really know the actual name of the song, West Savannah.
Yeah, you know the beat. I can't do the beat.
Singing is not your strong point, but that's okay. But Liberation for me on this song
Goody Mob is on that song.
Yep, and that's when I got introduced to Goody Mob,
right?
Which they were nothing new, but that's when I got introduced to
right. Because
them.
why would you know Goody Mob? Goody Mob is real down south, right? Real Atlanta. Shout out to Goody Mob. Shout out to CeeLo and all those guys.
I think this album is where I really got introduced to Outkast as just.
So this is their third album,
right? I missed the first 2.
Southern Playlistic and AT Aliens, but you heard about it after the fact though. Funky music, so you know more than you think you know. Right, there you go.
My mom tells me I can't sing, but I don't believe her.
Right, well, we all sound good in the headphones, right?
But Liberation is one of those songs
so
that I
you talk
play.
about Liberation, that's not a song that I would think that you would like. What?
Oh man, I used to play that song when I was in college.
It's a really long song too,
It
right?
is, because it's just, who doesn't want to, Black people want to be liberated. Like, even before I understood how much I love Black people and how much I love the struggle of Black people, and I am black, extra black, all day, black.
Black excellence all the way.
All the way, Black excellence. I even love Black failure. I love everything about Black people. Anyway, because Liberation is one of those songs that if you listen to the words, every part of it, there's a fine line between love and hate. Can't wait too late. See, baby, I'm on it. And it's just telling you, like, you just got to keep going. And then it's Erykah Badu in it, right? Who comes in.
You know what? Maybe that's news to me. She might be.
Is it Erykah? But when they come in on the hook and they're just, you can't wait too late because, baby, I'm on it. Who is it? Maybe I'm wrong. But no, Erykah Badu appears courtesy of.
Look at that. Shout out to E. Badu.
And look at me.
You taught me something just now.
You know how good that makes me feel, because you know music. Alfred, I give it to you. Listening to this podcast, I'm very impressed by your ability to know where things come from.
I appreciate
But
that.
Erykah starts singing, and it's just this, like, shake that load off.
Shake that
load off. Right? Like, how often, even when things are going good, bad, or in between, like, we just always need to remember, just shake it off. It's going to be okay. Every time I listen to this song. And one of the things I've told you before we were sitting here today is that every time I listen to this song, when there are things going wrong, you have those songs that you go to that you're like, I just need to listen to something to get me out of this. Liberation is one of those songs that I put on and I'm just afterwards like, I can do this. I can get through it. Life may suck in this moment, but it's going to be okay.
Yeah, and that's just really what it is, man. That's us as a people, and that's really encapsulated in this album and this song. And
can't worry about what another say, because baby, I'm on it.
I'm on it.
Yep.
So the next album you chose, also from Outkast, which is from the time we were in law school, was a bit of a controversial album at the time. I remember it being released because it was so different from it's a departure from their previous style, right?
I don't get into controversy.
It was Speaker Box and The Love Below, right? And that's on this album. This was in 2004, I want to say 2004. I mean, if somebody fact check me on this.
That could. Well, yeah.
We were definitely in school.
Yeah, we were in school.
But I remember this coming out and people being like, "What is this?" Because it was two totally different sounds. You have Andre and Big Boy both having their own, basically two separate records in one compilation, I guess is what you would call it. I love The Love Below, but The Love Below was the most different, the most non-hip hop record at the time that people were talking about.
Is it non-hip hop?
It's not, but that's what people were saying at the time. They were like, it's not hip hop. I love The Love Below. It's not my favorite Outkast album, but it was such a different. It's really the emergence of Andre 3000, because he was Andre before, but Andre 3000 is when he really makes an appearance on this album.
Let me tell you why I love Speaker Box and Love Below. Probably more Love Below than Speaker Box, but I'll tell you, it's two songs. So, Behold the Lady. In my mind, when I got married, now that I'm married, it didn't happen, spoiler alert, but I was going to enter into my wedding with this whole elaborate dance routine to behold, and they were gonna pop with a
that's a lot
umbrella.
Going on.
It was, but it was anybody who know my sisters, my best friends, they all know it's like this routine that Lorianne, remember Lorianne from no, okay, she is a choreographer for those who we won't speak of. Anyway, it was gonna be this Lori Ann. Yes, it was gonna be this whole choreographed dance because I just loved the song so much. Behold the Lady.
Behold.
It was that, and She Lives in My Lap. Forever My Fiance with Rosario
that's
Dawson.
Forever My Fiance.
And Rosario Dawson is like, she was the it girl of an era for a minute.
The early 2000s, right around this time. She was, shout out to Rosario Dawson. She's very New York, very just stylish.
Yep. And that song, I just love that song. And there were so many interludes on both of these that were so good.
Absolutely. And it just reminds us, too, of the time we were in school.
Yes.
I mean, talk about having no worries and just being free.
Yep.
Liberated.
And it's fun. These albums are fun.
Yeah, they were so fun. And such fond memories. And this is right before we became real adults, before we left school and had to...
Speak for yourself.
Right.
Still waiting to become a real adult.
And try to start to figure it out. I remember it well. And I remember a friend of ours from Atlanta, shout out to my main man, LC Chris Stewart. Larry Chris. Bumping this album in his Jeep. He had a Jeep. He had
oh my God, he did have that boxy Jeep. Oh, it's nothing like knowing people when they were broke.
He said, "Man, you heard this new Outkast, man?"
Boxy. ATL.
Never forget. I said, "Yeah, I heard it. I know all about it." But yes, it was good times back then. So this definitely is this album has a fine, not my favorite Outkast album. It's probably really,
but it's nostalgic.
Number 4, it definitely brings back a lot of nostalgia, but it's a great, great album, especially The Love Below, which is my favorite as well. So we talked a little bit earlier in the other interview about your connection with Chicago. Mm-hmm. So you chose, and when you saw it, you got really excited. My main man, Common, who you actually told me, I didn't realize this, his daughter is an Howard Law alumnus.
Absolutely.
You chose his
through
HU.
and through.
You know, you chose his 2005 album, Finding Forever, which is my favorite Common album.
Is it?
It is. This one
Look
and
at that.
and
Look
B.
at me choosing all the good ones.
Right. The two of those two. This came right around the same time. But this is a great. I mean, it has some great samples on this album. I love it. And I honestly, I don't even know what my favorite song is. I'm trying to think of. I can't choose, but maybe you can. I don't know.
Let's see.
This is a good start to finish album. It really creates a vibe.
Yeah, no. It is just a start to finish album. It is just kind of like a.
It's a vibe, man. It's a great album.
I feel like that word is so overused.
Well,
vibe,
you know
but
what?
it is a vibe.
It is a vibe, though. It really
Bilal.
is.
Remember, where is Bilal?
Bilal's around.
Is he?
Yeah.
Bilal,
he's doing his
at?
thing.
Holla at me, Bilal. And I won't call myself, like, I feel like there are people who are like, I've been a Common fan since I was born. I'm not that person. But this was an album that I got into Common.
No, Common was at a stage. This is I think right around we wouldn't call a mini golden era in hip hop, which is the early 2000s. I think the late 90s kind of fell off a little bit, and then it got into like when Kanye, Common, The Roots,
you know, I
Jill
saw
Scott.
Kanye in the club once.
Oh yeah,
in
really?
Chicago.
I've never heard that
Louis
before.
Vuitton backpack on. Yep. Sure
Interesting.
did.
I've seen Mos Def in the club. I saw Pharrell in the club, all in DC.
Def. Really?
Yeah, and all at Dream. Remember Dream? Of course you do.
Who could?
Right.
Most Def.
I saw LL. I mean,
really?
Walking around. Like,
I won't get into that, but I'll just tell you that my dad's cousin, so I don't know how I'm related to them, but I'm related to them. I don't think it was a real cousin or like play cousin. She lived in Queens. My Aunt Eddie, may she rest in peace. And so she raised her children with LL, Run DMC, and when my sister turned 16, my sister used to love all of them, and so she had them call the house to wish her a happy birthday. But yes, crazy things that used to go on back. But the point being is that I feel like there was a time in the golden eras of like the early 90s, the late 90s, early 2000s, before cell phones were like everything had to be captured, and where people you still had fun in the club, and like you still could see people in the club.
Right. I saw these folks around 2001, 2002, right before cell phones were.
Dougie Fresh. It was Dougie Fresh who called and said,
Dougie Fresh called
happy
too?
birthday, and she cried on the phone.
Which sister?
Michelle. Michelle got all the good things.
Oh, man.
Yeah. The oldest.
The oldest always gets
By the time they got to me, it was just happy that there was still a house to live in.
No, LL was not calling you on your
Nobody
birthday.
was calling me on my birthday. My parents barely remember my birthday.
It's
But
tough
I'm
being
just
the third
joking.
child.
It is tough being the third girl.
Yeah.
Third girl of three girls.
Right.
Very successful girls. A lot to live up to.
Shout out to the Lanaux sisters once again.
So yeah, Common. Love Common. I've never been the Common that, people love him because he's easy on the eyes. That's not why I love him.
Is it easy on the eyes though?
That's what they say.
That's what they say. Okay.
I'm more of a chocolate kind of.
Okay, so meth is not really chocolate. We had another. I'm not.
I'm not
our
a meth.
first guest. She loved meth. Very first guest of all time, Chantal Joseph. Shout out to my main.
Very first guest who wasn't me.
My main girl, other than you, Chantal.
I think he just said in front of me that I'm not his main girl.
Main girl, other than you.
Ooh, look at the time. I think it's time for me to go.
Man, it's been nice.
Wow. So you're cool, but the person I really like.
She loved meth.
Yeah.
You
meth
like the
is
chocolate.
All right.
Jig is not chocolate, really.
No, they're brown though. Common's not brown. Common's more of like a. Anyway, we don't need to.
Yeah, let's not get it. Let's go down. Let's not go down that.
Let's not go down that road. Let's take.
You're happily married, and so you're a chocolate husband.
I am married,
and that's all that matters.
And that is what matters.
That's what matters. So our last album. I know we have to wrap this up. Maybe I could be here all day.
Yeah.
Our last album that you chose was another very surprising album to me. This album is a very special place in my heart. It is Aretha Franklin's Amazing Grace, which is I know from my mom. And you told me, and this is actually recorded live at a church in Los Angeles. My mom was from Los Angeles. And I had this record in my house growing up, and I managed to buy it at HL Records. Shout out to HL Records, the best place for vinyl in D.C., District of Columbia. I saw it. It's an original copy. I was like, I jumped on it. I hadn't seen it in 30 plus years. But you also have a connection with, no one's ever even come close to choosing this album. You also chose this album. Why?
I did. And it goes back to one of the things I reached out to you, that you finally allowed me to be on this podcast. Thank you.
Always been allowed.
So this is my father's favorite song, Amazing Grace. And this is actually the song we played at his homegoing. This version of the song, right. In fact. So
the live version.
It's a lot to hear that this is your mom's original, because what we found out...
It's not her original, but it was in my house growing up.
Yeah, what we found out in just kind of talking, connecting as we do, our parents passed from the same thing.
Yep, Lewy body dementia.
Lewy body dementia.
Horrible disease.
Terrible. Wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. And so this song, to me, is just a memory of my dad and a memory of everything that, he saw of himself. Amazing Grace is the song that he just, saved a wretch like me.
Right, and he really had a connection with the song.
He connected with the song. So seeing this in the crates made me think of your dad. Made me think of my dad. Made me think of grief and the music you listen to, the things that you are drawn to get you through.
And music is a big part of that, especially in our community, in our African American community.
Absolutely.
It's a huge part of our existence in this country, and even taking it back to Africa as well.
Absolutely. And whether it's listening to Amazing Grace or
an amazing album cover too.
It's Aretha was bad.
Aretha has such a beautiful voice and was the queen of soul.
Yep. Whether it's listening to that, to Liberation, to listening to The Woo, which I told you that on November 7th, I texted my sisters and said, play this. It'll make you feel better. And it was one of the songs from the Wu-Tang Forever. All of this music just puts you in a place and brings you back to, it's not going to be that bad.
Right. We're going to get through. And we have we're going to make it, and we have so many members of our community that can put these thoughts way better than you and I can ever put them and record them for all time. Mm-hmm. So, and
they mark time. So
they absolutely do. Music is history.
It is. And there's it's not a hip hop artist, but Elamine. He has a song. The name of the song is Marking Time. And it's a good song, but the name is even better.
Right.
That's what music does for me, is it marks time. It just brings you back.
It brings you back to certain points in your life.
Yep. That when you hear it, you just go down, just like we did. You just go down that path of remember this? Ooh, it's doing that.
And we could do this for literally hours and hours.
We sure could. But yeah, Amazing Grace, when I look at that, when I see that album, when I see Aretha, it makes me think of my dad. I love my dad.
Yeah, rest in peace.
Best dad in the world.
Yep.
Raised 3 girls and never wanted a boy. And,
Yeah,
put a sign on our door when I was 7 years old that was Smurfette. It said girls can do anything, and it was her walking into an office that said president. So,
wow.
That's who my dad was for me. And so, when I look at this and think of the lyrics to Amazing Grace, when I think of how it used to move him and just how he just always tried to reinforce to us of you can be anything you want to be, God forgives, and no matter what you do, you can always come back from it. And that's just kind of who I am as a person. No matter what happens, I think you can come back from it, and music is something that brings me back. So that's why I picked that album.
I don't think we can end on any better note than that. Thank you so much for coming down and talking to me and reminiscing, going down memory lane, taking time away from your busy schedule and your family. It means a lot. You know I love you again.
Anytime. I'll always be here.
I know you ain't going
You call
nowhere.
me, I'm coming.
I know you're
I
not
might
going
be
anywhere.
late, but I'm gonna get here.
You were a little late today. We're not going to talk about that, but it's okay.
I was on time for
I
black people.
I don't have anywhere to go. Tell you about my life. I had nowhere to go, so I'm good.
Rushing me with nowhere to go.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
And hopefully we'll see you soon.
Maybe I'll be invited back if Chantel's not available.
Right. Chantel, are you available? Because I'd like to book you first. Bye, y'all. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Lawyers Hip Hop Happy Hour. Please subscribe to this podcast. It's available everywhere, including Apple, Spotify, and Amazon. New episodes are released on the 12th of each month, and if you'd like to see the video version of any interview, they can be found on my YouTube page at the Lawyers Hip Hop Happy Hour. Thank you for your support, and I'll catch you on the B-side.